and why.
Here.
No, when he says we are,
Yeah.
It was like something happened at the bottom
You do
of
the
my
neatest
water,
thing.
and the water just ran all over.
Doesn't she
I had
like,
water
she just
everywhere, so I
gets it all
plugged the towels.
organized.
Now I have all these wet, dirty towels. I have the biggest mess.
do we have her?
Okay, now the baseboards look like junk, so I started painting baseboards last night.
Can you hear us?
So, did you get it all figured out?
No, she's talking, we can't hear her either.
People, I put on Facebook, when you call,
Yeah, I don't want.
several people gave me a name of somebody, so I sent him a text, but I haven't heard from him. I didn't expect him to call me. I just thought maybe if I knew, I could get my name on the list.
To let you know how soon you gotta get those cows.
When you get older, you have to put it up.
How was your trip?
We didn't go, they postponed it a year because of COVID. So we'll go next February.
Okay.
First trip was, we're going to the Holy Land.
Oh.
We're really nervous because of COVID. Yeah. And then the group made the decision, so that, I guess you relieved. We were very relieved.
Muted myself.
Because we had insurance.
Can you hear? This is Eileen. Can you hear me? Okay, well, I was on mute
Yes, you were.
and I'm gonna go back on mute. And if I think I have anything to say, which is probably not going to happen, then, because I'm here to listen, okay?
We don't allow you not to participate.
Well, I thought active listening was really good participation. Are you, can you all see me?
Well, we could until I hit something here that I should.
Well, don't hit it back. I don't want to be seen or heard.
Okay, we can hear you. Can you still see us?
I can hear you and see you.
Okay, well, I don't know if I.
Hi, Gail. I'm sorry I wimped out on you.
That's okay, I know you're there.
I'm here somewhere.
Yeah.
If anyone knows anything about how to operate this, welcome any assistance.
Cindy went in there just a minute ago.
Okay.
Craig Campbell is an expert now.
Come on, Craig Campbell, get us set up here. We can't see it, we can't see. Yes.
A lot of times if you just go back to your login and you want to.
I joined without video, I think.
I want to see us.
And that's just fine. I don't need to be seen. Is that okay?
Well, that's okay, but we want.
That may be your opinion, but not ours.
Well, I'm controlling the video, not you. I have joined this meeting without video, so you can't see me.
She bumped us out, but I should still be able to see us.
I do this when I do all my Zoom meetings because, well, my husband is still asleep and I can't really get myself cleaned up this morning yet. So I'm not worth seeing just right now.
Yay, thank you, Craig. I don't know what to do.
No, I can't lip read, Craig. Are you trying to get my video on from your computer? It won't work.
Okay, we see you. That's okay, Eileen. You just keep on thinking that, sweet woman. Yeah,
We don't see that.
we don't see it.
We see nothing. We can see nothing.
We see nothing. Okay, well,
How, did you all miss that thing about it's a sin to lie?
It's a sin to lie.
Thou shalt not tell whole stories.
It got real quiet real quick when you said that.
okay. Well, we are ready to discuss our milestone 8, which had to do with seeking balance and elevating our repressed centers. So we need to look in your workbooks. I need to ask you to look in your student books on page 34, because there's 3 C's for the message that we were wanting you to look at and answer and be prepared to discuss today. So those 3 C's is their connections, there's challenge and changes. So the first one is connections. It's on page 34, Jamie. You got it? Okay, all right. Okay. What connections do you draw between the mantra? Remember what your mantra was from as we looked at the video? Do you remember those mantras? Because they're on page 32 of your book. So what connections do you draw between the mantra for your number and your own life and experience? Anybody willing to share?
Well, I kind of got some help from Sally because my mantra is be assertive. And assertiveness classes were all the rage when I was in teaching. And I thought, boy, that would really help my discipline, which was kind of a problem for me, naturally. So assertiveness was the end thing, and so I kind of get a little bit turned off now by be assertive because that's supposed to be my mantra, but it's. I think leadership was everything in those days when I was coming up and through teaching, and everybody can be a leader, but that really wasn't true. Everybody can't be a leader. So that's sort of the argument I have with my mantra.
You are not accepting your mantras.
Yes, okay. Bad boy.
Okay, so, and that is your number is?
9.
No, okay, all right.
Well, currently I think I'm a 7.
Okay, today,
And my mantra is, it's okay to depend on others. And it's okay. I mean, it leaves me feeling like, yeah, give or take, I can or I can't, but I'm learning that I can. When I get to know people and trust them, then I can depend on them.
okay,
That sounds healthy.
I think sometimes I've been tempted to trust people too quickly.
Maybe that was out of need.
Could have been. I don't know. I mean, anyway, I'm working on it.
okay. Gail, I kind of skipped Bob here, we'll come back to Bob.
Oh,
But look at challenge. Do you
Yeah.
find yourself wanting to argue with the message of the mantra?
yeah.
Okay.
I already,
Obviously, that's too.
Bob, you obviously do too, okay?
yeah,
Alright.
it doesn't feel very definite to me, like very specific.
Okay. So what changes in your attitudes, thinking, or actions are suggested by the mantra?
Just maybe to try practicing it more, practicing depending on others more rather than just, I can do it all myself.
Bob, what about you?
I think trying to speak up more, and also, as it's been pointed out to me, I kind of use humor a lot to separate myself from people. So I think less humor and more connection with people would be the way I would apply this mantra.
Okay. Thank you both for sharing.
That seems like a really keen insight.
Thank you.
I think so too.
Was it an insight that you gained because Sally told you?
What did you say?
Yeah, I told him that many times.
Insight because Sally told you.
It's
so
much
easier to do it for them than for ourselves.
I know.
You know, I think that's the problem with this is we start talking and then pretty soon we've shifted the focus away from ourselves and looking at other people and what we think they are, and what they do, and what they don't do, and how they respond. And so I think that's something we need to stay the task on with this group, is sticking to ourselves, even though we feel like our toes are being stepped on or we're being run over.
You know, I was thinking about that with my kids. Of course, they've all done this, but I can't really remember what they all are, but I can start trying to peg them. And you think you know your children well enough that you can do that, but really and truly, you don't know what they're
Right.
thinking.
What's their motivation? You know what they do, but why did they do it?
And you cannot really determine for someone else because you don't know what's going on inside.
That's a good point.
Good point, yep. Now, does anyone else care to share what they've learned with these 3 C's? Well, I'll share mine, it's a 2, okay? So the connections that I draw between my mantra, which is, it's okay to have your own needs, and my life and experience, I do, and I do care, and I care for others until I'm too tired. And then there's this outburst of, can't you do anything for yourself? You know, it's the martyr thing. You know, I've done this, and this, and this for you. Why can't you, you know, what's the matter with you?
Mhm.
And so, well, I guess what my challenge is, I need to ask myself that question that she had for herself in the video is, who asked you to do all those things?
Yeah.
You know, who asked you to do that? Did they say, Mom, I need you to do, or, you know, Lee, I want you to do, or no, they don't. So, and sometimes I'm too tired to argue about it, you know, just, okay. Then the changes for me is I need to stop my activity. I'm very good at being busy. And when I'm very busy, I don't have to think. And that's my repressed center. So for me, my challenge is to stop and to think. Really think. Do productive thinking, not unproductive thinking. So I can realize what I need and where I'm headed and what should be done, what shouldn't be done.
Way ahead of the list.
Well, sorry, but that's my changes. Those are my changes. Those are my changes. Yes,
As a result of your mantra.
yes,
Okay. I'm with you.
okay. I'm done.
So is
Anybody
it
else?
okay to agree with your mantra?
Sure.
Because I did, I mean, it says it's okay to trust others. I'm an A, and it's okay to trust others. And I probably trust everybody with the first impression, almost a gullibility. She'll say that. And then if they burn me, then it's bad. So then I want to like everybody, I really do, especially when they're going to get me.
That sounds like it.
And it's only after they drop the ball. I don't argue with the mantra. And changes attitude and thinking. It's working for me. I think. Yeah.
So you still do that even now, even though there's that risk of being burned.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, the whole deal of betrayal is a big part of my
Right.
deal, and no, I'll hear somebody say, I don't have an ego, and I then immediately, no, I don't have an ego, but they don't have an ego. You know, we're gonna check our egos at the door. Well, I hate that buzzword, that catchphrase, because the ego is gonna come out here pretty quick. And, but trust, yeah, I like the light there the first time I see it.
Thanks, Craig. Anybody else have anything they care to share?
My first reaction to my mantra was.
And your mantra is?
It's okay to be happy.
Okay.
And my first, because that's the 4, and you know, I've had some problems accepting that that's really what I am. So my first thought was, well, that's another piece of evidence that that's not really my number, because I do think it's okay to be happy. But then I thought about how often I sabotage myself from being happy. Like, I know that I am happier when I'm eating cleaner and, you know, getting some kind of, well, for me, it's yoga. I know that I'm happier when I do those things, but on a routine basis, I go completely off the rails and just carb load and then feel crappy the next day. And the whole time, I mean, it's like being an alcoholic. The whole time I'm shoving in that sugar. I'm thinking you're not going to feel good tomorrow, but I just keep doing it. And I do think that's it's kind of a, I don't know if it's subconscious or I do think it's kind of sabotaging. So maybe that's where that mantra comes in.
Carboholic.
Bad. Really bad.
I think
We need to start a Carboholics Anonymous.
That's why last Wednesday, Diana and I were on the desserts for feeding families. I can never be there again. I can never be there again.
Did you have to taste everything? Did they bring donuts?
Yes.
But they cut them into smaller pieces.
Whoa.
We're gonna-
Don't you do that at home?
If you eat the whole.
Or a pie or something, just cutting off little slivers, like.
Yeah,
eat 'em in-
I read it, I didn't read my book, but I read
It's to come along and take that little piece. Yeah.
And does anyone else have info that they feel comfortable sharing?
I guess I can share. I'm a 1. It's okay to make mistakes. And I can say that to myself, but then, you know, I used this example one day about setting the table. And I can tell myself it really isn't gonna matter, but if no one's looking, I can guarantee I'm gonna go straighten it up. But I can kind of come to terms with it with myself. But if we kind of got into a deal that was handled poorly, it was unethical, it was, everything about it was wrong. I just cannot cope when I see people or a situation that is poorly done and it's not right, and it's not right on any level. I absolutely I am just raging inside, and I have kind of gotten to where I can keep my mouth shut, but I can't even sleep at night. I am so upset about the circumstances that are wrong. And my husband, who we've decided is a 9, he's just like, oh, well. Let's not worry about that. I'm like, that's not right. No, it's not right. We know it's not right, but we didn't do anything wrong, so we can let it forget it. I'm like, but I can't forget it because it is not right.
They think of that one quality they call us the terriers, you know, we're just like that dog with the bone, we can't let it go.
I'm also a 1. It's okay to make mistakes. The connections with that, just saying that creates anxiety in me. So that's the connection I get when I read that. My challenge is, you can just wanting to argue with the message. I don't find myself arguing, but my challenge is to be able to forgive myself for making mistakes. It's okay. And so my changes is to try to kinder to myself and say, you're not perfect. You're never going to be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. So,
Thank you. I'm also a one, and yes, even saying that mantra out loud, it's okay to make mistakes. No, it's not. It is absolutely not okay to make mistakes. And so, yeah, I do challenge it. I think what I've done, and I think it was Suzanne mentioned, let yourself have one area of your life that, okay, if you have to be perfect here, be perfect in that one area, and let some other things go a little bit, you know? And so I've been trying to do that, and I've been pretty successful. My house is a disaster right now because I'm letting it go. And my husband and my son see it. I mean, they see it, and they're like, what? You know, so like she said, if you let something go in your personality, your family will react to it. And they're seeing it, and they're kind of starting to pick up the slack a little bit, which is a great thing. As far as the being right thing, that always bothered me too. If I saw an injustice, I could not let it go. But I think being, and it was worse when I was in my 20s and younger, I think being with a Black man for a long time, he has taught me that that's not your lane, okay? This is your lane, stay in it. You can't fix that. That's not fixable, it's not your problem. And so I think Larry has helped me just say, okay, you're right, I gotta let that go. You know, people look at us strangely sometimes, even to this day, which, I mean, come on. And, you know, he just always says, that's not you, that's them. You can't fix them. It's how you handle the situation. So, I mean, he's had to do it for 61 years. I've only had to do it for about 30. I'm getting there. And that helps, but it is hard. And it does keep me awake at night when I see an injustice. But, yeah.
We had 3 5s at our table, or 3, John. We haven't heard from any of the 5s.
Because we don't want to talk.
Maybe that's why.
It's okay to engage with others. That's your mantra. It's okay to engage with
I know
others.
it, and so, okay, the second question, do you want to argue with the message of the mantra? Yeah, I mean, I know it's okay, I just don't want to, because it's hard. So yeah, that's the thought I had when I read the questions.
Yeah, I looked at it and I wondered, well, why am I that way? I mean, I think maybe we have habits from the past that are no longer, to protect ourselves, that are no longer appropriate. You don't really need them anymore, but you, out of habit, you keep them up. And that may be part of my case, because my mother, she had kind of an overwhelming personality, where, you know, I felt like I'd get the life sucked out of me if I allowed myself to fully, she would tell me that I wasn't affectionate, or, and maybe it was her, you know, when I look back on it, maybe she was one who wasn't affectionate, I don't know. But those habits that protected me probably aren't really useful anymore. But the feeling is, you know, you don't want the life sucked out of you. So you kind of have a little distance or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I remember, especially at work, you know, in education and in social work, you go through all kinds of fads, you might call them, and then there was this thing that was called teamwork. And I always hated it, because in a way, I was a 1, you know, everything had to be done right. Well, here you are depending on somebody else, you know, to get this job done. I never liked teamwork, and I probably never will, because I feel like if I'm responsible for this job, then I'm gonna do it. Do it right, but I'm not gonna agree to do it unless I think I can't do it. And so that keeps me kind of at a distance, because I'm not gonna just jump up and say, oh yeah, whatever you want. It's, if it's important, I will do it, and I'll do it right.
I think back, John, how that applies to you in law enforcement too. That not engaging is a really safe thing.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, it's probably essential. I mean, that's right, essential to not engage.
But it shouldn't be at home.
I guess you're
It should
the way
be
that.
at home.
Yeah, that's the way lives are wired.
Can you all hear me? This is Eileen.
Yes.
I struggle with even figuring out what my number is.
Yeah.
Penny and I were talking one day, and you know, when I first was listening to Suzanne talking about the numbers, I could kind of tell which one I was. And then she went to the number 1s, and I almost broke into tears when she was describing what it was like. But I told Penny that I think that my essential self is not a 1. My upbringing required me to be a 1. And I think, therefore, it's very hard for me to figure out which of the other 8 numbers I am, because I was so forced into a certain, you will not make mistakes. Well, I made them anyway. And I was always in trouble. And so I really struggle with, you know, I think I'm an 8. That's what I think I am. But then, you know, maybe I'm a 7, maybe I'm a 9, you know, but I know I'm aggressive. So I have to be a 3, 7, or 8. So I guess I'm a 7 or 8. But you all seem like you know so much about yourselves, and I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm 75 years old. I mean, how long is it going to take me? But you all seem to have figured it out for yourselves, and you know your challenge, you know your weaknesses, and I'm still struggling to figure out what number I am. So anybody want to tell me what number I am so I can get it over with? You know, it's hard when you, and I think we do tend to change our behavior based on our environment. So sometimes it's really hard to figure out who you really are. Am I the only one?
No,
No,
no.
Can I tell Eileen what number she is?
Well, if you are aggressive, then the other thing we have to know is what your triad is. Is it head, heart, or gut?
Well, I go with my gut. So yeah, that makes me kind of an 8. But
I know. Join Jackie and
but yet when I hear all the other, like when I go, sometimes, you know, I even wonder, 8s are supposed to, it's okay to trust others. I think I do. When I first meet somebody, I think this is a worthy person I want to get to know. And I'm kind of like what Craig said, I trust until it's proven to me that I shouldn't trust a particular person or situation. So that doesn't seem to fit me. So when I go into the details of 8s, I get roadblocks.
Well, and it's not 100%, Eileen, and I think that's how we all come to accept where we are, that no one is a pure, right down the line, every quality of that number. We're all very unique within our.
And that's where the wing comes in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I
Well,
think.
and if we don't get to
that,
today's
people
actual
that have the same
topic,
number.
we're gonna miss number 8 milestone completely.
Okay.
Repressed center is what this was all about, elevating our repressed center.
And the whole purpose of knowing what that repressed center is and elevating it is that we underuse that repressed center and we don't stay balanced. We're not balanced and we don't have that wholeness that we should have. So the purpose of looking at this today is to go through a process that's going to help us unleash that repressed center so we can be more whole and we can be more pure.
Would someone like to read on page 35, the centers of intelligence and the Enneagram numbers they determine? See that heading?
I can do that.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jane.
The centers of intelligence and the Enneagram numbers they determine. The 3 centers of intelligence are the 3 basic components of the human psyche: emotions, thoughts, and actions. The Enneagram refers to these 3 centers as feeling, thinking, and doing. Each of the 9 Enneagram numbers has a unique ordering of the 3 centers of intelligence and operates according to the dynamic balance between them. Every configuration is different. That's what makes each number different from the other 8. A person's Enneagram number is determined by the configuration of the 3 centers of intelligence within the self. Each person has a dominant center through which they take in or receive information. Then there's the support center, which joins the dominant center in processing the information. For example, a 2 encounters any experience with feelings, then almost immediately wants to do something about those feelings. The repressed center lags behind and creates imbalance. Think of the rows on the table below as a seesaw, with the dominant center on the left being highest and the repressed center on the right being lowest. Your goal is to bring the 3 centers into horizontal balance by elevating your repressed center.
The next section tells us that making more use of our repressed center is truly our life's work. So each of you can check to see what your repressed center is if you don't know what that is at this point. Everyone pretty clear on what they're. And I thought it was interesting in the video that she said that was something that basically stopped developing somewhere between the age of 8 and 12. Because we haven't tainted it, that will be our most pure aspect.
Our repressed center.
So for ones, thinking is the repressed center. So our thinking should be the purest thing that we can do.
What purest in what sense? I do have a little bit of problem.
I'm having,
Unused, I think it means.
Unused.
That's the idea that I got from her, that
Yeah,
it was.
unused and not
What?
tainted. I think she used the word tainted, didn't she?
I think so.
It hasn't been tainted by outside influences.
People have been trying to get me to do stuff for a long time.
What did you say, Sally? It has what?
I think that listening to her speaking about it, I got the idea that it was pure because it was childlike, it was unused, it was virginal, it was.
She used the word repressed, not as mature.
Yeah,
That's the other 2. So, like,
yeah.
It tells us that bringing our 3 centers of intelligence more nearly into balance by elevating the one that's repressed. The balance is one of our Enneagram's most valuable gifts. If your repressed center lags behind, you miss your potential to be a truly whole person. Elevating your repressed center will call for courage and commitment. And Suzanne gave us some of those specific changes that we need to work on. And that's where these charts in our book, I think, are so great.
And she also said over and over, you have the whole rest of your life to work on this.
For sure.
You know, it's not, you're not, I think what she's basically telling us is, you're not really ever gonna be done, you're gonna have to keep working at it.
And she kept saying, be kind.
Be kind, yeah. That's in every one. When you look at how to bring up your repressed center in this, these grids on page 36 and 37, she gave us a little list. And be kind to yourself is in every single one of them. You know, it's the fourth one in every single one. How to bring up your repressed center, that section of each one of the stances. That's there. So yeah, Jane, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it might be interesting if we focus on the traps of our personality autopilot, that's the way that we automatically react, behave in most situations, and our default settings. If you can look at those and maybe speak to those for your particular number.
As a 7, thinking is my dominant and doing is my fulcrum in my seesaw. And I can deal with bringing thinking up to a level, but I don't want to dive down into that. It just seems like a scary place, a scary pit of, you know, I mean, level is okay. We can stay level, but if I gotta work on that the rest of my life, that looks like a big scary thing.
What working on it though is bringing it into that level. I think, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's not throwing thinking into our forefront, it's just bringing it up.
But
so that we use that as much as we use our.
Yeah.
So she used that as much as feeling and think, feeling and thinking then for the 7.
For the 7, I'm
Would
sorry.
be even.
It's like this big closed off thing. And in a lot of ways, probably not every way, but some.
I truly, thinking is
You're 1.
I'm a number 1,
Okay,
so.
stances dependent.
And anxiety was created when somebody would ask me a question that I would have to think about and give my opinion or give my feelings on.
Which might make a mistake.
Because I might make this, yes.
Because what?
And in my childhood, as I look back on it, you know, children were to be quiet. And so we
Seen
weren't.
and not heard.
And not heard, and so you didn't I didn't develop that part of my, I didn't, of that stance or whatever quality. And so it's been kind of a journey to make myself think about things at home or, you know, when I'm by myself, just to start feeling more comfortable about doing that. And then maybe I've been doing a lot of writing lately, so just to express myself and my feelings, what I'm really thinking about the subject or something.
I apologize. I was talking from a 1 standpoint, and with a 7, thinking is your dominant subject.
Yes.
And I was,
Yeah.
I just.
That's okay. That's okay.
So your repressed center is feeling, so we need to bring your feeling up.
Yeah.
Naturally. Are y'all related to the autopilot? Your default settings, does that sound like you?
Yep, for the 2 it does.
Shuffling default setting.
Just traps of your personality autopilot.
Oh,
Here's
okay, okay. Mhm.
I'm sorry, no, we're not supposed to talk about our spouses, but literally, he is not on a committee that he's not the head of. Can you name one committee that you're not the head of?
It's
The
temporary.
household.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so when it says that you step into a power void,
But they asked me, I don't volunteer. Seriously.
And you feel the need that you should do so. Because they have asked you to do that.
There's somewhere it says I can't say no.
What about you, Jane?
see, this is where I don't know, maybe I don't see myself, but when it says that I'm always seeking intensity, you know, she says that that's my autopilot thing. I'm searching for intensity. I don't know. I don't feel like I do that. So maybe I don't. Maybe I don't see myself, but I don't feel like that's me.
It's something as simple as your meal planning, the little thing you told me. Share that with the group if you're willing to.
Craig and I have some recurring arguments, and one of them is about meals, because I accepted responsibility for all of the planning and preparing and everything when the kids were young, but I always kind of assumed that it would shift away when the kids were all gone, but I still have all the responsibility, but he doesn't really necessarily like what I plan and what I cook. And so he, just the other day, we were in this argument about it, and he said, does it have to always be something that you found on Pinterest? Can't you just ever like throw some seasoning salt on some chicken breast and just say that's good?
No orange jelly.
And I said, no, because I'm a day 4. I don't want just seasoning salt on a chicken breast.
I could live on sandwich and chicken and stews, you know. But orange marmalade on my chicken.
I thought that chicken had mom with orange. And you started.
Yeah. Maybe a Walmart for some frozen chicken.
Sometimes I look at you guys and I think it's like looking, like if Chris and I were looking in a mirror. You guys are like, oh, I don't know. Huh?
Yin and yang.
It's, but you remind me a lot of, and Jane reminds me a lot of me. And we're both withdrawing, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
But yeah, I'm not, they want just salt and pepper on their chicken, and what is wrong with them?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Give
I
me some
can't
orange
make
marmalade.
myself, it's such a waste of time to spend all your time in the kitchen and then just put salt and pepper on it. Can't do it.
Seriously? Preach it, sister.
And then it's smashed up, put salt and pepper, I said orange marmalade. You spend all your time in the kitchen.
I love that you made that association, because I think sometimes I try to make way too much out of this, and it really does come down to this very simple, day-to-day ways that we live our lives.
Yeah.
And something as simple as meal planning, I would have never made that association, but it's perfect. I like people want a little flair in the meal. I'm gonna put salt and pepper. I thought, you know, I know that someone did something else.
I like your idea.
Yeah?
I do.
So yeah, whenever I cook, for them, I just make grilled chicken with salt and pepper, and for me, like tonight, I'll make them grilled chicken with salt and pepper, and for me, it's gonna be potato soup with leeks and yeah, they're gonna have their
Leaks sounds like a problem.
Playing food.
Oh, you can't find that everywhere.
Yes, you literally can.
Yeah, you can.
Like right there with carrots.
Yes. All right there.
And some parsley and some, yeah, you keep going. It's that,
I'm getting hungry.
yeah, our work here in this particular module is that they're wanting us to prepare a list of things that will allow us to elevate our repressed center. So when you look at this list, you know, that, and actually post the thing. I mean, that makes that, we're someplace where, in a prominent place where you're gonna be looking at it, and it's gonna give you the opportunity to think about, here I am, that's my weakness, but thinking about, you know, what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it. So the first 4 on our list is gonna be the same. We're gonna practice honest self-observation, and that's difficult, not to be judgmental for some of us. But that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to notice where we're focusing. What am I focusing on? And then train your attention to whatever your repressed center is. So ruminate, think about it, figure out how you can work this repressed center to be more whole. And then be kind to yourself. That's the 4th one that everybody has. And actually, we really have all of those top 4. So then what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to go down here and look at our default settings, methods to ways that we might be able to escape that autopilot thing, the thing that I automatically do, and figure out what the next 2 things are that we can do that's going to help us default and elevate that, default to the repressed center, not default to it, but elevate it so that you become more complete, more whole. So if you were looking at your number and you're looking at this section of your how to bring up your repressed center, what are a couple of things that you could do to escape that default setting that you could put on your list? That's the question that I have for you now.
Shifting from judgment to discernment is difficult because that judgment has been such a strong result for.
Yeah, so close.
And it probably often ends, don't you think, with that self-observation, and I find that really difficult. And I can look more objectively at others than I can myself.
But then you're passing judgment.
On myself,
Or them.
probably.
Just
If I'm
asking.
being really honest.
Just
yes.
asking.
Painfully honest.
Just asking, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I can stop in my tracks somewhat when I'm looking at Jane or Tracy. I can be kinder to others. Maybe that's what it all boils down to. Than myself. And that's speaking totally from women's perspectives. Do any of
I
you other
guess,
numbers?
since I started off, I'll continue. But I'll just tell you what I've been doing, which may or may not have to do with my repressed center. I don't know. The Bourbon County Arts Council had entries for their contest, and I decided to enter with a woodcut, which I had done over at the Presbyterian Village years ago, but it was a carving of a oak leaf or something on it. It's very simple. But anyway, I made a print out of it with a roller and ink, and it looked pretty good. And I thought, you know, I would try to make a woodcut. And I decided that, that wasn't my calling, maybe after I used some chisels and tried to cut the wood. I made a lot of mistakes with it. So, to make a long story short, I guess, the original print did come out pretty good. But the ones I tried did not do so well because I was going across the grain with the chisel and everything. Didn't work too well. But anyway, I did make an entry. And so maybe art is the thing that will be my repress center. That I will try to elevate, we'll do some things in art to bring out that center.
Talk about what time you be ready. It's just occurring to me that if I've been repressing feeling, maybe I've been thinking and doing all this stuff, and what I really want to be thinking and doing is something else, but I'm blocking it because I'm not.
Wow, that's good. That's really good, yeah.
That's a great observation.
That's
Yeah.
just occurring to me. Because I know what I've been putting off doing. Repress those feelings, and then you don't have to think about it.
When I look at this list of escaping the default settings for all of us, for all of those stances, of course, I'm a 2, and it's easy for me to look at that and say, shift shift from feeling others' feelings to empathy. That's gonna take a lot of work on my behalf. It's gonna, because it's not my normal operation. So when I look at this, I see that all of us have a lot of challenges. So what I encourage everybody to do is review this again, look at it, actually formulate your list, post it where it's accessible to you. Because what your goal is this next week before we do the next topic is that they want us to make a concerted effort to notice what's happening and then do something different. Mine is not think, but that's what my challenge is that I need to do something different. And we're supposed to try to lead with our repressed center. Do that first instead of that dominant center. So whether your repressed center is thinking, doing, feeling, lead with that. Try leading with that in some situations and see where that puts you, see how it makes you feel. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. So you need to know that right off the bat. But it's a part of learning a new way of being.
I don't even understand the direction here. It says at the bottom of page 37, 5, the instruction for number 5 is shift your desire for knowledge to desire for wisdom. Embrace some risk. What is a desire for wisdom? I mean, what is that? I don't even know what that means.
During the video, she said something about the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is something that you keep in your head, that you study and keep in your head. Wisdom is when you apply it to a situation.
Yep.
So I think is doing your repressed center.
Yeah.
Okay. Take all that knowledge and apply it. Take the risk of actually using it in a situation. See, I see Sally that's applying the knowledge when she tells Bob what to do.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Well, there you go.
Straight Bob out. Yep. My lifetime goal.
You use a lot of wisdom along the
It takes a lot.
Sally just made me think about it. My son-in-law, who's a 5, and he knows, he'll tell you he knows more than anyone in the room at all times. In
And
his
since you're
job as-
perfect, you know that's not true.
in his job as a pastor, though, he's really risky.
Yeah,
Because he would be happy to stay in his study all day long and just keep gaining knowledge, but now he has to go out and share that knowledge in some meaningful way with the congregation.
well, it's really annoying at home. Bob thinks I'm the fount of all knowledge. And I tell him, I say, just Google it. I don't feel like talking about it. And then he'll get the whole thing out and he'll say, I can't figure out how to do it. I say, hand me that thing. There. That's a pure 5 too. I don't feel like talking about it. Well, you know, I read a book and it's like, tell me about what the book's about. I'm thinking, it's complicated. I'm not gonna explain all that. Just read the book.
Tell him to go on to Amazon and read the little,
The blurb, yeah.
yeah, the blurb about it.
That's a good idea. Very good idea.
Thank you all for your patience.
Randy doesn't know how to.
Thank you guys for the direction.
Yeah.
So next week will be the number 9.
That should be.